So I had my, hi, yeah, okay. Hey guys, I'm really not well today. Like I literally can't even really see myself in the viewfinder because my eyes are just all like migraine-y. I've had a crazy day. I wouldn't say a bad day or a negative day, but it's just been like, just crazy. It's literally the only word to describe it. It is the end of September and I had my first physio appointment today. So a little back history if you don't know. I recently got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I already knew I had SLE, lupus, but the day that my rheumatologist diagnosed me with fibro, he referred me straight away to physio, and I've waited, and now I had my session this morning, and it's just like blown my mind, like honestly blown my mind. I found it really interesting, confusing, overwhelming, like a lot of things. Quite alarmed by how bad my eyes are, really. Like I literally can't see myself, and my whole like vision's just not good, like patches of my vision missing. This first session was really about just talking to the physiotherapist, talking about my history and my symptoms and kind of why I got referred to him, I guess. Like, he was really, really nice and expect it to be what it was. You know, I just kind of thought it would be like, I'm here because I have lupus and fibro, and he'd go, okay, and he'd like touch my joints and get me to move them and then write some notes, and then that would kind of be it. But there wasn't any like physical examinations of any kind. It was just a lot of talking. But basically we talked about trauma, and it was hard, and I think that's why I feel so ill and so exhausted. He kind of explained to me that because there are no inflammatory markers in my blood that would show them that my joints are swollen or in danger, they don't believe that my joints are those things. I find this really hard because I keep getting told, but your bloods seem fine, so you must be fine, or your bloods seem fine, so we're not worried about that symptom. And it's like, okay, but the symptom is ruining my life, so I'm worried about it. I'm concerned. Can we be a little bit concerned? And he said that he really thinks the problem is with my nervous system. So when you get any illness, your body becomes like traumatized by it. Like any illness or injury is like a trauma to the body, and your nervous system kicks in and releases like stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and you also get that like fight or flight response in your body when you're under stress. And stress could even, I'm saying like an illness, or I'm not just talking about like when you're stressed, I'm talking about your body being under stress because of illness or injury. Your nervous system holds on to this, and your nervous system, like he was like, your nervous system's like this. Like the way I keep saying it is that my nervous system is shot to shit. But he kind of said like, your body has been through so much trauma with this illness, like you said, like going from being perfectly fit and healthy to being so unwell and having such severe symptoms is traumatizing for your body. And your body has not had a chance to heal because your nervous system is still wrecked, like constantly. So normally, say with an injury, you'd get injured, your body, your nervous system would react in that way, and then as it heals, your nervous system would calm back down, back to a normal rate, and all your like chemicals would go to a normal rate, and then you would heal and feel better. And I'm not doing that. My body is not doing that. My body is not calming down. It's not getting out of the fight or flight stress hormones like place, and that's all to do with my nervous system. And he was like, even down to, like I said, you know, we've tried many exercise programs during the last 2 years to try and get me to I really just want to be back to the fitness level that I was before. It's not about my like size or my weight or anything to do with my looks. The main thing that like frustrates me is my physical abilities before versus my physical abilities now. I really, really struggle with that every single day, and I still haven't come to terms with it. That's something that I've been considering going to therapy about, because I can't settle. I don't want to accept it. I don't want to accept that this could be me forever. I also don't want to accept that it could take me years to get back to that. And like, even on my good days, I have a good day and I overdo it every single time for the last 2 years. And I know not to do that, and everyone tells me not to do that, and I still do it. And then I end up like dead for days afterwards, like literally bedridden. And I'm actually flaring at the moment, but like a more minor flare in comparison to like my summer flare. And I've been going through this cycle in this flare of, oh, I've perked up today, overdoing it, 2 days in bed. Oh, I've perked up today, overdoing it, 2 days in bed. And I've been doing that for like a while now, just on repeat. And I'm annoyed at myself because even saying it, I feel like, are you stupid? Like, stop doing what you're doing. Like, if it's going to end up with you bedridden, don't do it. But I literally can't. I can't control my need to do everything constantly. And I haven't been able to learn to not be living at a million miles an hour. And even if I'm not like doing things at a million miles an hour, my brain is doing things at a million miles an hour, going, okay, but as soon as you're better, you're going to do this, this and this. And I write a million lists and I plan out my days, my better days for when I'm better, like every minute of every day. And I cram pack it full of activities, and then it's just this vicious cycle that I just can't seem to break. And I think that's because of how hard I'm finding it accepting that this is my new normal. Like, I don't even want to say that out loud. And I think it's extra hard because I also thought I'd already done this work on myself. I thought I'd already got over this. I thought I had come to terms with it. I thought I was fine. And I'm not. I'm not okay. I'm not okay with living like this. I don't like that I have to live at such a slow pace. I'm sick of having to constantly cancel everything because I can't keep up. Not be able to do the things I love. All of it. I hate it. And I'm angry about it. And it's like it's not got better or gone away, and I honestly thought it would have by now. So I'm struggling with that. And I spoke all about that with a physiotherapist today, and he said, see, even that, getting set an exercise plan, and then you're getting so frustrated with yourself that again is like setting your nerves on edge and your body is stressed. So then of course you're going to have because of your illnesses, you're going to have this response where then you're bedridden for days because your nervous system just can't take all this like stress and anguish and frustration. And it just blew my mind because I was like, that makes like loads of sense. And yeah, that just makes sense. And like, wow. And I said to him, like, I get this awful thing where, okay, so I'm told to walk down to the end of my street and back, which is like a 5-10 minute walk, and do that every day, and like see how you get on. And I do it for a few days in a row, and then I'm bedridden. And it's not like I give up either, because then as soon as I'm better, I'll go back into it, and then I'll be bedridden. And it's like, so frustrating. And as I said that, he's like, and there's that frustration, like, you have to accept that it is what it is. You have to accept that this is your new normal. You have to accept your illnesses and your symptoms. Because I also said, like, back in 2016, when I'd been diagnosed but I hadn't got any treatment or help or been told what to do, what not to do yet by anyone, I was going swimming regularly because it's easier on my joints. But every single time without fail, I'd get in and I'd be like, let's do a 20-minute swim, which is still too much, but I'd be like, let's do a 20-minute swim, and it would just be like slow pace, just like I'll stop in between, and then 40 minutes have passed. I've been swimming at my like complete highest speed non-stop, and then I can't get myself out of the pool, and I can't drive home. And I've done that so many times that it's just like almost embarrassing, because why am I not learning? Like, I don't understand why I'm not learning. And like, I'm realising things even as I'm sitting here, realising things. See, even that gets me frustrated. I'm frustrated by the fact that I'm not learning any of this, and I'm not learning from it, and I'm not doing better. So I'm like living in this constant state of stress and frustration. And he said, and it's true, like, having any illness like these is stressful and hard and upsetting and distressing on a daily basis. So that's enough for your body to handle as it is, like, it's too much as it is. And then you're adding on top of it all of this stress and frustration about what you can and can't do, and your symptoms. And like I said to him, that I'm like the type of person that wants to figure everything out and then fix everything. That's just who I am, and I learned that a lot through therapy. I think I can fix the world. Everything that ever goes wrong in my life, or not even wrong, but just like even things that go right, I overanalyze. I sit and think about why that happened and why that didn't happen, and how I can make that happen again if it was good, or never make it happen again if it was bad, and how I can fix everything. And I have to accept that this is not something I can fix. Honestly, all of it just sounds like an impossible task for me. Like, I came out and I was like to my boyfriend, like, so I've got to change my whole personality, because it's really who I am, and I don't know how to be another way. Like, if I did, I obviously would have done it. You know, he said, like, how insightful I am. Every doctor that I talk to about my problems says how insightful I am. I'm just always like looking inside myself, and I'm always self-analysing and self-examining, and yeah, just sleep on my lap, but my leg's gone dead. I'm so sorry. Come snuggle, good girl. Yeah, so he was just like, your nervous system is just making it impossible for you to heal, or to like restore or renew. I need to eliminate all of that and just be zen and happy, and just get rid of all negativity and stress and emotional distress and trauma, and create a bubble around me for it to be a stress-free zone. But yeah, and then he kind of made this like analogy about like, oh well, some of the therapies like won't be right for you because, you know, it's like if you had a bereavement and you were getting chest pains, I wouldn't automatically treat you for broken ribs. And I was like, I think I know what you're saying. Actually, like, I don't know if I made a face or made a noise, and he looked at me and I said, yeah, I've like lost half my family in the last few years. And he kind of looked at me like, what? And I was like, yeah, like 3 out of 4 of my grandparents, both of my dogs, my auntie, my 20-year-old cousin, many great aunts and uncles. It has been a lot. Like, I've experienced a lot of loss and grief, and he was like, okay, and like wrote that all down as well. Because I think his point is like, it's silly of me to think of the two as separate, like my experiences and my trauma and my like mental health as being so separate from my physical health and my lupus and my fibro. They are of course connected, and in many complicated woven ways, and I need to accept that. And he really thinks I could live a life with much less pain if I was to sort out my nervous system. And I swear to God, since I saw him, it's like I can feel my nervous system like vibrating inside of me, like shaking. It's like my insides are trembling. It's the weirdest thing. Since I left that appointment, it's like I can feel that I'm like this. I'm moving around the world like this, and like, really it feels like that. And I don't know where that came from, and but I'm not even, that's not just like in my head. I can feel it. And so I did some like research, because it's me. Anyone else's cats just love to lay on their stuff, like you put the phone down and they just lay on it straight away. Seriously, I did some research and I found this page, and it's all about trauma and the nervous system. And it just, a few of these phrases like really, really like just shook me to my core. So it starts with, stress is not in your head, it's in your nervous system. Crazy. So physiology research shows that the stress response memory lives in your nervous system. Take, for example, exposure to a stressful event, one in which you felt helpless, hopeless, and lacked control. My whole life. In this case, your autonomic nervous system is engaged. This is the part of the nervous system responsible for controlling unconscious bodily actions like breathing. To be more specific, it was the sympathetic branch, which is the fight or flight method, that kicked in whilst you were strained. Basically, it sends a message to your adrenal glands, which is where adrenaline comes from. To activate this fight or flight response, stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released from your adrenal glands. They help your body suddenly mobilise in order to flee danger. Trauma occurs when this biological process is overwhelmed and a person is unable to release and process the stressful event. It is possible to avoid a traumatic response by discharging the energy generated. For example, shaking, crying, screaming can allow the individual to physically process the stress. So what's that? When people literally say like, don't hold it in, literally don't hold it in. So if I just lost someone and I heard the news, and I wanted to cry so bad, and I was absolutely heartbroken and devastated, but I held it in for whatever reason, that's going to lead to trauma. Your nervous system actually holds that stress and trauma. Like, it's a scientific fact. It holds it there. So you need to let it out. And that's why, like, even in therapy, if you're like saying you have anger issues, they tell you to like scream into a pillow. You need to get it out of you. Otherwise, you're going to become traumatized by these things, which makes sense, because when I think about the things that have traumatized me, it's mostly things that I've repressed in the immediate moment. For instance, my sexual assault, because of the situation I was in, I didn't have any chance to show any emotion or let out any emotion. It was all shoved down until much later on. But by that point, my body's traumatized and my nervous system is just holding all this nervous, terrified, traumatic energy. That is crazy. I never knew any of this. Did you? Like, it blew my mind. Listen, however, if the stress response is not processed, it remains in the tissues of your body. When a subsequent stressful event that does not pose a serious threat occurs, the traumatic memory is then recalled and a large amount of stress hormones are released. Blood rushes to the extremities, pupils dilate, muscle tone increases presenting as tension, breathing rate increases, the heart beats faster, and sweating occurs. Hence, the nervous system responds as if this small incident is life-threatening. So that's why, like, I've been through a series of events where I've been, like, traumatized, emotionally, physically, mentally. My body is holding on to it. And then when I have, like, everyday small stresses, my body has this like huge reaction to stress. So I become bedridden, I get migraines, I throw up, I break out in a rash. Like, all of these things are happening because of this. That is crazy. I cannot believe no one has told me this before. Like, I'm sorry, this is crazy. This biological response is clearly beyond the ability to rationally control. You can't think your way out of it. So this goes on to explain that the one part of your brain that the fight or flight is in a different part of your brain to where you can, like, rationally think. So that it is impossible to do both. So my brain is in this constant state of, like, fight or flight, stressed, traumatized, distressed, upset, and I can't talk myself out of it as much as I'm trying to. Here I am trying to rationale everything, figure everything out, and I literally can't, because I'm constantly in this state of, like, stress. It's crazy. I know I keep saying that, but I've had my mind blown today. The question is, how can humans become unstuck from immobility? Moving out of this frozen state can be a fiercely energetic experience. Without a rational brain, animals don't give it a second thought, they just do it. When humans begin to move out of the immobility response, however, we are often frightened by the intensity of our own energy and aggression, and we brace ourselves against the power of the sensations. This bracing prevents complete discharge of the energy necessary to restore normal functioning. So, like, he literally thinks that the reason why I have these, like, I've had these, like, scary episodes which I've talked about before in my health videos, about where I, like, literally can't walk. Like, my legs just freeze and they go numb to the touch and I cannot physically move my legs. And that is this. That's the immobility. Like, my body is freezing, and not because of, like, it's because of, like, my lupus systems, my lupus symptoms and fibro symptoms are traumatizing my body, and when my body would normally, like, heal that and work it out, it can't because of all this stuff to do with my nervous system and trauma. So I end up unable to move, and then we brace ourselves and, like, hold ourselves back again in those moments because we're scared or whatever, and that's how we end up not ever fully getting rid of that energy and, like, letting our nervous system reset. Like, this is me. This has been my life. Unprocessed stress becomes traumatic memory that lies dormant in your body. Like, and that is about, like, forgiving myself, being okay with the fact that my body has responded in this way and may continue to for a while, accepting that this is the way my body is reacting because I've been through so much, and, like, realising that it's okay to admit I've been through so much, and knowing that it's okay for me to feel whatever I need to feel fully, and not ever holding back or holding it in, and realising just that getting stressed about my body's reaction to something is only going to exacerbate all the problems, because if my body reacted like that in those traumatic moments, because that was my body's way of handling it, and I have to love myself for that, and like love my body for doing that, because here I am alive, so it kept me safe, so it worked. You know, your body has these responses for a reason. It's just that mine have become like stuck with me, and so my body is in this permanent state with my nervous system all jacked up, and this is a huge breakthrough for me. A huge breakthrough. It's like someone has sent me a message being like, you don't need to be angry at your body for not being able to walk sometimes. Your body does that because of what you've been through, and it needed to. So just accept it in the moment. Don't cause yourself more stress. You know, oh my God, my body's under all this stress, it's traumatised, so it just freezes. And then I get more angry, more annoyed, more frustrated, more upset. Really, I should just be loving myself, being nice and kind to myself, being compassionate to myself, like I would of anyone else, telling myself this is not my fault. This is my body's response that it needed, and it may not need it now, but that's not my body's fault. It's not my fault. And just to remain calm. And yes, it all sounds so easy, and it won't be easy in practice, but like, I honestly feel like I've had a breakthrough. I don't know, like, what... This is going to take me so long to process, but him telling me all of this and me connecting the dots and realising all of these things has just been insane. Let me tell you that website, by the way, where I got all of that. Was the Body Wise Foundation, where I found that one particular bit of writing that just hit a nerve with me. It's been a big day. So moving forward, he asked me what kind of therapies I would be like open to, and I said all. I would particularly love hydrotherapy and like graded exercise therapy, but I also would love like massage and acupuncture, because I've benefited from that in the past. So yeah, I'm going back in 2 weeks, and that's when I'm starting. So I'm excited. I feel really positive. Like, the thought that I could heal a lot of my trauma at the same time as like lessening my pain and fatigue, because those are the two things I find like debilitating every day, is my like severe pain and severe fatigue, is like a dream. And he said to me, you know, it's the NHS, I only get a short amount of time with you, so it might be over a really long period of time, but what else am I going to do? Like, I don't care how long it takes. If it's going to work, then great, I'm here for it. So I hope any of this makes sense. It's just been like a mind-blowing day, and I'm absolutely exhausted. Hey guys, so I look a mess. I feel a mess. I've really not been well. I don't really know what's going on. It's just like, doesn't feel like my normal flares. So I'm really confused, because I don't know. I feel so unwell, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it normally does. So I really am confused. Can you see this rash on my eye? It's just not going away. Like, I'm quite rashy anyway. Like, everywhere. Rashy, rashy, rashy. Yeah, it's just not great. It's just not great, but never mind. We're here to talk about my health problems, so let's talk about my health problems. first things first are, it's the start of October, and yeah, this rash will not go away. It's been there for ages now. At one point it was actually like the proper lupus, like discoid rash, where it's which is called that because the rash is like discs, and it was like a perfect disc here, one here, one here. You can still kind of see that that's sore, and then kind of the same on this side but not as severe, and then I had a couple just like on my face. I made an appointment with my GP to talk about it, but by the time I went to see her, like sod's law, it faded, and then now it's back. So I've got another appointment. I've taken pictures hoping that I can show her, because I hadn't when I went. We were going to talk about other things in that appointment anyway, so it didn't necessarily matter, but yeah, you can still see it on my eye, and it's actually, this bit particularly is really, really sore. And I said to her, okay, so what if it does come back? And she just said, oh, use something like E45 cream. So I have been using that, and I have found that it's made the rash everywhere else, because I've been putting it on the rash everywhere on my face. I've found that it's made the rash everywhere else like better, but not, I don't know if it has or not, but like, I don't know what's going on with me. Second thing is that I had my CT scan, which was on my face, which was for my chronic rhinitis and sinusitis problems. Just lol that we've got a constant stream of cats going backwards and forwards here. Like, do they always do that? No. Do they want to do it because the video's on? I'm sure they do. I'm sure they know. Yeah, so I had the CT scan. I don't know the results yet. I've got an appointment at the end of October with my ENT doctor to discuss whatever happens with that. My sinus is so bad today, actually. And then the main thing I wanted to talk about was I finally had my neurology appointment, which I've been waiting for ages. I suffer with such bad migraines and headaches, like, and it was really eye-opening, the appointment, because he asked me questions that I just don't think you like necessarily think about, like, yourself, until someone asks you, because they know to look out for certain things, and then you're like, oh my god, yeah. Like, for instance, he said, can you remember a day where you've been like completely clear-headed, like completely clear of any kind of headache? And I can't. Like, it's been years since I remember that, and I said to him, I really think that correlates with when I first got ill with my like lupus, fibro stuff. I think like since then I've not had a single day where my head feels clear, and I don't know, I do think some of that is like the fatigue and like my sleep problems, my insomnia. Alright, jeez, can we be nice? Making a ruckus when mum's filming. Good boy. Yeah, so that was like eye-opening, because it made me think, oh my god, yeah. And like today, like my head, I don't have a headache, but like I do, but like I'm so used to really severe migraines and really severe headaches that when I have these like dull, lesser pain headaches, that's just like a good day to me. So I don't really like think about it. So like today I would say like I don't have a headache, but then if I actually like check in with myself, I'm like, yeah I do. It's just not on a like 10 out of 10 pain scale, so I just don't like consider it. So that was crazy. And just other things, like he asked about if I get numbness and pins and needles and stuff, which I do really badly, and I never thought would be to do with my headaches. I said that to him. I said, oh, yeah, I do, but I just thought that was like my lupus and fibro. And he was like, well, it could be, but it could also be the migraines or whatever the problem is. He was really amazing, can I just say, and really, really thorough. And from the time I left my house to the time I got back to my house was like 7 hours to go to that hospital appointment, which is just insane. But it's in the middle of London. We drive there because the train stations, like, it just, travelling by public transport is really, really basically impossible for me at the moment. I haven't actually gone on a train to London in like years now, which is just crazy because I used to do it every day for work. But yeah, I just can't do it, especially since I don't have my wheelchair, and it's just a lot, so we drive anyway, but it was early morning, so obviously we thought, let's leave really early to like miss the like rush hour traffic, and then if we get there early, we get there early. I'm sure there'll be a coffee shop or something that we can like sit and wait. So that's what we did. So we literally left the house at 5 AM for my 9 o'clock appointment, and like we just got there on time. It was crazy. We didn't have like an hour to chill. We basically got there on time, because by the time we found it and then found the car park, and the car park wasn't really a car park, it was like this underground space with no actual parking spaces laid out, so people were just dumping their cars everywhere. It was really weird. And then then the lift wasn't working, so by the time we found out how to get into the hospital from that weird car park thing, it just was a lot. And then my appointment was like an hour long. I was in there for like 45 minutes, and then I had to leave and do blood tests, and then go out of the hospital back into the other hospital, like across the bridge, which is the same hospital but like a different building, and have an ECG done. And we waited a long time for that, and then we had to take the results straight back to the doctor because he wanted them immediately, so we had to go all the way back. So it was just a long day. My back's hurting. I literally look like a little egg or a potato, don't I? He did like eye tests, not like an eye test for my vision, but like how my eyes move and pulsate and things like that. And then he did a, hi Figgy. And then he felt my head like everywhere, and he said that I'm like swollen and tender at the back of my head here. And now he said it, I could feel it, and I felt that I was like touching the back of Ben's head the rest of the day, like, why do you not have these lumps that I have? Obviously I know everyone's head's different, but like seriously, I have really big lumps in the back of my head. And even when he pressed them and straight away went, oh, that's really tender, and I was like, yeah, that really hurt. And actually, since he pressed them, I've been having real bad like head and neck pain there, so obviously it's a problem. So basically the plan is the ECG was to check if my heart's okay to have different meds that he is suggesting. The meds that I'm on are not great for my sleep problems, so that's what we're trying to like get rid of. So he's going to wean me off my current tablets, put me on new tablets, find the right dose of those tablets. He's going to send a very clear, very thorough, was the way he put it, step-by-step plan to my GP about what he wants the like plan of action to be in terms of my treatment, but also he's going to send another like very clear plan of action for what I should do when I get a migraine, because at the moment like I know like what works for me, so but I've never been like given a plan of what to do when that happens. So he's given me that. He said there's a device he can use or give me if that doesn't work. There's also Botox, which I've always said I don't know why anyone's not suggested that to me, because it's like supposed to be really great for migraines. And he said he could offer me nerve blockers straight into those like swollen bits. So basically I feel like so much of my problems is nerve damage. It's like a problem with my nervous system. Because the physio said that now, and now he said it, and I said that I thought I was having nerve pain back in like March, and that's why I got put on nerve blocker tablets, and they have helped. So it's crazy, like it feels like this is kind of a new key that we've found, and it's making me feel really positive, because it sounds, I know that always sounds weird when I say I'm positive about things that are like, who would want problems with their nerves, but ultimately I have these problems. So like figuring out why I have them is not like a bad thing to me. That's a good thing. I want to know why I'm having them, and I want to be able to fix them, so that to me is a good thing. Hey, I've brought you down here just because my back is really hurting. I can't sit up straight anymore. God, the rash does look bad on camera here, like there in comparison. My phone does this really annoying thing when I try and take pictures where it just automatically edits the colour and like brightness and stuff, and I don't know how to turn that off, but every time it does it to my skin it gets rid of the rash, and I'm like, no, I need a picture of the rash. Anyway, yes, nerve blockers. Oh, I'm being sent for another MRI scan on obviously my head, which I haven't had done in years, so I'm not really bothered about it. It doesn't like worry me. I'm fine with having an MRI done. But it would just be interesting to see what they find. But yeah, it's just seeming like a common theme has become my nervous system, and nerve damage. Like, that is just crazy. And if it is that, like, that's not something we've been treating, that's not something we've been concentrating on, and then it's no wonder that I've not been feeling any better, but probably just getting worse and worse. So I'm glad to just figure out whatever it is and fix it. So yeah, I think that was everything that we discussed. He's just basically said there's so much new treatments, experimental stuff, medications for migraines that we can try. So I always love that when a doctor says, here's the plan, but here's the B, C, D, E plans. Like, if that doesn't work, we'll do this, and if that doesn't work, we'll do this, because that just makes me glad, because I've had way too many doctors just go, take this, bye, and then when that doesn't work, like, that's literally what's going on at the moment with my dermatologist. He just sent me away with stuff, and I said, oh, it hasn't worked, but he's discharged me. So now I'm in this battle with everyone to try and get back in to see him without having to go from the very beginning of a brand new referral. It's a mess. Like, so when they give you like a proper care plan of like, if that doesn't work, then we'll try this, it just gives me hope. So yeah, I don't feel great, but I feel good about having more answers. It's always a good thing in a way when like more than one doctor, and they're not even from like the same like is it like the same borough of hospitals. So that makes me happy that they're all saying the same kind of thing, rather than I've been in a place before, like when I first got unwell with lupus, where I was seeing so many different doctors and they were all saying completely different things, and it just makes you feel lost. You feel like, well, how can you all think it's completely different things, and which one is it, and this is going to take so long to figure out and so long to fix and so long to treat, when they're all on the same page and all saying, I think it's this, like, I think it's your nervous system. It's like, oh, okay, so maybe it is, yeah, and this is how we can treat it. Okay, good. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a bit of a crazy month with physio and that neurology appointment, and oh, I'm exhausted. Can you tell? Like, look at the state of me. I'm not well. I don't look well, and I can see that I don't look well, and I'm not well. It's funny that I chose to film this today as well, because I got literally the worst night's sleep last night, so I know I look how I slept, which is not at all. Anyway, I'm gonna go. This is like as much about filling you guys in, because a lot of you are absolutely amazing and check in on me and send me messages of support when you know I'm not doing so well, and send me love when I am doing well, and like, it's just it's really been amazing. But as much as it's about filling you guys in, because I know you want to know, it's also about documenting it for me, because it's been really helpful to look back and realise what's changed, what's got better, what's got worse, and it's actually really useful for my doctors as well. Like, if I've got that information, I can go in informed about like how things are changing. So, and with lupus, things are always changing. So yes, if you have lupus or fibromyalgia or any of these like chronic illnesses or chronic diseases, just know you're not alone, and we're all incredibly strong, and feel free at any time to message me, because I love talking with you guys about this stuff, and sharing information and sharing what works for you and what works for me, and just helping each other, because the biggest thing from being ill that I've found helpful is being informed, like knowing my shit. Being knowledgeable about my illnesses and about what works for people and about what works for me and about what's changing. Just always trying to keep on top of it and keep informed is really, really important. So yes, I'm gonna go. Please subscribe if you're not already and hit that like button. I would love to have you here. Hope you're having a lovely day and I will see you in the next video. Bye.